This is a run-through for my TBP speaking gig. I've thought long and hard about what your needs are and what would most benefit the listener. And I've spoken with a few of the members and sharing some of the challenges that you're facing and some of the things that you wanted to hear from me. And in doing so, I believe that I consider myself, especially being the TBP mascot, that there are lots of things that I do actually know that are internal, that because I'm not a member that I'm privy to, if that makes any sense to you guys. And I had this recurring theme, and it is exactly predicated upon exactly what I shared with you just a few seconds ago about being and taking full responsibility for the platform in which I have to be in front of you and to share. And believe me, I don't take it lightly. I take it very seriously. And so I'm going to share with you guys what it means to take responsibility for your business, for yourselves. And when I speak of and when I use the word responsibility, I am referencing your responding to the ability that's within you. What you need to do for yourself to empower yourself to do that and how you do that. So first, let's just make sure that we get the right foundation. Oftentimes people go and attend various talks or listen to various even audio recordings or, watch, various CDs and documentaries that are empowering. And they're excited and all hyped up at that moment. And then it wears off, usually by the time they finished with the presentation. It's very akin to when someone says that they went to a religious service or church service and they are asked to, hours later, hey, how was church? Oh, it was great. Oh, well, what was it about? What'd you learn? I don't know, but it was great. And my goal and my desire is for that not to be the case with you. My goal and my desire is for you to be so empowered, inspired, motivated, nudged, pushed, cajoled, that you would take the next step, which means if it's good and has benefited you, it means that you will walk it out. You'll put legs to it. Does that make any sense? So a lot of what I'm going to share is probably not new to you. It's that my perspective and my delivery is new. It's newer to you and it gives you a fresh perspective. And when I was thinking about the responding to the ability, one of the main things that I had as a recurring thought was there's a story about this young guy, Kim, who's an orphan, and this older guy named Sardibus. And Sardibus was walking through his journey, was in the desert, and he had this really big wicker basket that would just weigh him low. And he would have it strapped to his chest. So he's walking, hunched over. And so Sardibus is, he's run away from the orphanage. And he has all of these questions, why does one person succeed in life and the other doesn't? And is it a luck of the draw? Is there something I can do to assure and ensure my success of any endeavor? How do I, with, coming from having no parents, feeling like I wasn't even wanted or desired, how do I go from that type of a background to really being in front of kings and then being my peers? And so when he meets with Sardibus, he's asking him these questions. He's thinking, well, hey, this guy's older than me. Surely, he's got the answer. And Sardibus says, you know what, Kim, you just got to go on your journey. Yeah, just like I am. So they got to know each other a little bit, and Kim felt really guilty in that he had not offered, at least, being a young and strappy guy, he hadn't offered at least to take on Sardibus, his wicker basket. And he said, I'm strong, I'm strappy. He goes, I could carry that for you. And Sardibus says, oh no, Kim. He goes, you're going to have to carry your own basket one day of all the things that you wish you'd done and all of the doubts and the fears and the unbeliefs that you have about yourself, that you've believed about yourself. Kim was like, this guy's, he's obviously been in the sun too long. I don't know what he's talking about. So they go on and they end up, building fires together and, sleeping up amongst, the stars at night. And one night in particular, Kim is acting as though he's asleep. He's got one eye open, one eye closed kind of deal. And he's listening to Sardibbas rummage through his basket, mumbling to himself. He has no idea. It's so inaudible, he can't hear it. So he wanted to ask him, but he said, I dare not, because he already could figure out that Sardibbas was a very private man. So they just continue on their road, or continue on their travels. And then one day, Sardibbas just never wakes up. They go to lay down, and Sardibbas never wakes up. And so Kim proceeds to go over there to him, with his frail body, now lifeless body, and to take off the buckles around his body that had been holding up this basket. Because Sardibbas said that night didn't even undo his back, he just fell asleep, and in essence he died. So Kim goes, and as he's fiddling with the buckles and everything, he realizes, he goes, gosh, this feels kind of light. He says, gosh, Sardibbas would be so, bowed down with this. So he goes and he lifts it, loosens it off of him. And as I'm sure you probably have figured out by now, the basket was empty. And Kim immediately referred back to the conversation of what Sardibbas shared with him was contained in that basket, was all of the hopes, the dashed dreams. And so I'm sharing this story with you about Kim and Sardibbas at the onset to share with you that whenever you are about to embark upon reading a motivational or a spiritual book, or if you are about to attend an event such as this where you're going to hear something, or if you are about to listen to an audio recording of some sort, it is always advisable that you prepare the foundation, which is your heart, to receive the word that's about to be shared with you. And recognizing there are no coincidences, and that you are supposed to be here, hearing just this for exactly where you're at in your business or with yourselves. Guarantee you that. Okay? And so I'm going to ask that each of you, while I'm sharing, that you would just take a moment to do a little gut check and just kind of say to yourself, gosh, I need to prepare my heart. I need to hit the reset button on whatever's gone by, the goals that I set that I thought I deserved that I didn't get, the times when I hesitated on making that sales call, the time when I should have extended my hand to say hello to a person that I know would have been the ideal collaborator with me. I'm going to ask you to suspend all of that doubt, fear, and unbelief about yourself and just, hit the invisible reset button so that as we go on our journey together, you'll be able to receive exactly what it is that I know is for you. So when I look at my own way in which that's done, the way in which you just kind of suspend that and respond to the ability that's in you, the first thing that you need to do after you've accomplished that is to take inventory, is to really look at what is it that has always been a common thread with you, or what is it that you could do, and you could do it all day, and you would lose track of time when it comes to eating or what time of the day it is, or any of that. And I'm going to share with you what mine is. It's no coincidence. I've always been a lover of words, always. And I grew up in a home where my parents had a very successful janitorial business. My dad worked at a plastics company. My mom ultimately went to school to become a nurse. And prior to that, we stayed home with her. And my dad could complete the LA and New York Times crossword puzzle in ink in its entirety every day. Speaks several languages, English, of course, Spanish, Tagalog, French, and Portuguese. And it's so funny to have parents that were that way and just very open. and would encourage me to, like, I would help them with crossword puzzles, being the operative word. And they really instilled a strong sense of belief in me. And it's funny, I was just sharing this with someone recently, that, those the little booklets and all that, or the back of magazines where they would have these, drawing contests, and they would have, write a story or a poem or something like that, and you submit it and you could win, thousands of dollars or hundreds or something. And well, my parents, I went to my mom and I said, I want to enter this contest. And I'm about maybe 8. And so I had already written my story, and I had the paper scissors, the kinds for cutting out paper, craft scissors. And so I'd already cut out this really crooked, I remember it so vividly, this really crooked square, which was the submission. And I wrote so large that it wasn't pretty, okay? But it got the job done. It kind of went sideways kind of thing. And so my mom says, okay. So, she gets the envelope, and I'm excited. And she gets the envelope and sends it off. And a little bit later, I'd completely forgotten about the thing, I get this pink envelope in the mail. It was the first time I'd ever received any type of mail that was outside of like a card from a family member with money in it for my birthday or Christmas or something. It was the first time. And so I was, cuckoo that I've always been. I had no idea that this was a rejection slip. So then I got a blue one, and I had a bright gold one, and I remember there was a green one. And I just kept getting the rejection slips. And so I would say, Mommy, did I get any mail today? And she'd say, no, Jacqueline. I'd say, okay. And I, because when I started getting the slips, I became even more interested and I remembered it more. And so one day, just out of the blue, my mom says, I'm so proud of you. I said, okay, And then she said, you're not curious of what I'm so proud of you of? And I said, okay, what are you so proud of? She said, I'm so proud that you brought your story to me, and that you wanted to enter the contest, and that you had everything ready that you could have ready, and that you're not moved by them saying no, that it wasn't their style of writing, or that they didn't want your story. And she said, don't lose that. She said, do you hear me? And I said, yes, ma'am. And I was the type that, if I said I wanted to do X, Y, or Z, the next thing you knew, that Saturday I'm taking a class to join it. And it's no coincidence today that I am the voice for a lot of people that you may or may not even know, that I'm the one that's writing that script, writing that content, writing that entry on that blog or that autoresponder, or anything that's, creative and has to deal with words, or diffusing situations that could turn a little squirrely. And it's funny because I knew that there would be something. My mother wasn't sure if I'd become either an attorney because of I talk, and great debater, or a teacher because I really enjoy learning things and sharing what I learn with other people. And it's funny because I believe in so many instances I am a defender of someone's business, their reputation, the way they present themselves to the marketplace. And it took a lot of twists and turns for me to get there, but I'll share that with you guys individually as opposed to spending that time here. So the very first thing that you want to do is, of course, to make sure that you've got that whole hit the reset button thing, right? That's number one. Number two thing, so that you are responding to the ability that's within you, is to take inventory of yourself. What do you have? What is it that you can do that someone else can't? What is it? Because it is something. There's definitely something you can do. And it's funny because society teaches us to minimize those things, to blend in with the wallpaper, to try to be like everyone else, to conform to whatever whoever they are, say. And in order for you to be successful which success comes in whatever your definition is. In order for you to achieve your desire, you have to have your own voice. And that's why, if any of you know my tagline, it is that I help make you to be a voice and not an echo in the marketplace. Because no one wants someone that sounds like someone else. They all want someone to have their own stance, their own spin. And for you to express that creativity in and through everything that you do. And it is possible to do that. So first, as you have the foundation, you kind of clear that out. You hit the reset button. Forget about the, coulda, woulda, shouldas, who done you wrong song and all that crap. Okay? You hit the reset button. You go, today, right now, this is an appointed time. We are sharing space for a reason. And I'm not going to get all metaphysical and all that kind of stuff. However, I am going to. Do you understand what I'm sharing with you? I'm going to make sure that you know beyond any shadow of a doubt that you're supposed to be here. You're supposed to hear exactly this message. It is crafted and sculpted just for you. Now, if you choose not to hear it, doesn't mean that the message wasn't meant for you. It's that you chose not to hear it. If you choose not to act on it, doesn't mean the message wasn't meant for you. It means you chose not to act on it. It's all a choice. So first we have the foundation of hitting the reset button, right? Then your second thing that you need to do is to take inventory of yourself. Now here's one thing I'd want to share about that. If you've been at whatever it is you've been at for any period of time, the tendency is to go back to what you know versus allowing yourself to be open enough to receive new and exciting information. Let me say that one more time. The tendency when you know or when you think you know is to go back and to do what you've always done because that's easier, it's simpler for you. But it doesn't mean that's what's best for you. Okay? It's funny because there are so many things that I didn't know I could do until I did them. Most things. And the same would be for you. A funny story. I had purchased a Volvo. This is several years ago. It was a stick shift. And I'd never driven a stick. Okay? And so, but it was like a great deal. It was awesome. And I'm meeting with this couple. I can't make this stuff up. I'm meeting with this couple. I go pick up my car. And I'm meeting with this couple over at Laurie's over in Beverly Hills. I'm telling you, I can't make this stuff up. And because I'm not, I'm praying for green lights. I'm on La Cienega Boulevard praying for green lights. My office at the time was on Wilshire and just west of La Cienega. And so I had a way that it would make this noise because it would shut off because, I didn't put the clutch in and all that. And I started in my head, I said, kaboo, kaboo, it would cut off. And so it would just, every time I get to where I was, making a left to kaboo, kaboo, it would turn off and I had to start it back up. And, I could go a few feet, kaboo, kaboo. And I'm trying to roll through lights and roll through, it was just utter comedy. And I get to, and I'm, dressed to the nines. I'm meeting, this couple and, on and on. And of course I want to make a great first impression. And they were just so polite. They wanted to drive off together. I'm like, you guys go on. You guys just go on. And so I finally said, okay, so I just got this car and it's a stick. And so it kaboo kaboo, and it just, as I'm leaving out, and it was the funniest. It is the funniest thing like ever. But by the time I got home that night, I could drive a stick. And so point number 3. So point number 1, get your foundation together, hit the reset button. Point number 2 is to take inventory of what you're best at. This is how you take full responsibility for your business and for yourselves. Point number 3 is that you do something different, something that's scary, like, trying to drive a stick on La Cienega and Wilshire, in peak traffic. Number 4 is for you to surround yourself with the right tribe. And here's where this is almost like a duh, because you guys are part of Trusted Business Partners. However, it bears witness to say that you need to align yourself with the people that resonate with you in your tribe. And you've got quite a few to choose from. And that you make sure that you are not just making withdrawals from your tribe, but you're also making deposits into your tribe. So that way you're strengthening it instead of depleting it from all of its nutrients for the next person who's going to come and be involved and need to make a withdrawal. Does that make any sense to anyone? So when you are out and about, let's just even think of, in retrospect, had Bob and the rest of those guys that were hoping to become part of another networking group and they just didn't have the numbers, had they not stretched out and done something that they hadn't done, there would be no trusted business partners. Here's what's interesting about that. When you choose not to adhere to these things of taking full responsibility for your business or for yourselves, imagine for just one moment, a quick moment, had Bob and the other guys that were involved decided, well, oh shucks, we couldn't make it to whatever that group, we're done. Had they just said, that's it, forget it, you guys wouldn't be here. You guys wouldn't have the social, the financial, the professional support that you have. Everybody meets a need. TBP meets a need that other groups don't meet. And other groups meet needs that TBP doesn't meet. That's why you're able to coexist. Because everybody has their own skill set. Everyone has their own assignment, if you will. So when you are taking full responsibility, responding to the ability within you, number one, you make sure you've got a sure foundation. Number two, you take an inventory of yourself. Number three, you do what you haven't done before. Number four, you link into your tribe. And if I were to say 4B, I would say for you to have some type of an accountability and not what is TBP, Trusted Business Partner, mandated, what you yourself mandates it. Now, here's what's funny. When you choose to do this, and there are certain things that you do personally in order to make sure you got your head right, which you already know, but I'll just kind of toss a few of those things out there. One of them is to have some form of prayer and meditation. Another one is for you to do that giggle, garbage in, garbage out. You have some type of way in which to release that, the negative self-talk. Warren Buffett is known for saying that the person you'll be in 3 to 5 years is based solely upon the books you read and the people you hang around. Well, you got the people you hang around together. I don't know about the books you read in. So when you are looking to take full responsibility, which is responding to the ability that is within you, this is what it looks like. It looks like someone that could quite possibly be afraid, but they do it anyway. Tina Turner used to say, what's love got to do with it? What's fear got to do with it? The more that you do, the less you'll be afraid. And while an idea that popped in my mind is oftentimes when I'm speaking about doing something that you haven't done, I mean to ask for the deal, ask for the business, ask for the order. Ask, if you have some type of a thought that maybe a person isn't doing business with you or doesn't necessarily even like you, ask them if you really want to know. Ask them, is there something about me or something that I've said or done that offended you in any way? Or when you guys are, you're not getting, say, the number of introductions and referrals at TBP. TBP is your family. This is friendly fire. You can ask the person, hey guys, I've been coming for a while and I've given out referrals and I've sat and, done some one-on-ones and, I don't know if it's a timing thing. Maybe things just haven't lined up right. However, I'm just curious if you guys would just let me know, give me some feedback. Is there something that I'm doing or that I'm saying or that I've shared with you that repels you, that makes it so you don't feel comfortable introducing me to the people that you care about most for my services? And you'd be surprised, after people are shocked that you've actually had the guts to say that or to ask that question, you'd be surprised. Some people may say, well, actually, I don't feel comfortable. And if they say, oh my gosh, well, why not? Say, well, I've noticed that you're late to every TBP meeting, every single one. And I know sometimes, you get a flat tire, battery doesn't work, got to get the kit. I get that. But every single week that you've been here, you've been late. And so for me, I don't want to get that back to me that, they liked you well enough, but you were 30, 45 minutes late. You guys, anybody tracking with me? Is this resonating with any of you guys? It should be. And so when you are assessing yourself to say to yourself, okay, how am I on forgiving myself if I blow it? How am I on preparing myself to receive a new word, a fresh word, a new referral? If you were to take everything that I've shared with you and you were to switch it out with how to take full responsibility, if you were to switch that out, which is responding to the ability within you, right? If you were to switch that out for how to get more referrals, how to get more introductions, it would be the same. Just FYI, it would be the same. The same exact things. Okay? So it is really, I read somewhere, okay, that life and death is in the power of the tongue. That you're eating the fruit of what you say, whether you say them audibly or you say them internally. You've given them life. So what I'd like to do right now is I would like for anyone that is interested, I've got about another 15 minutes with you guys, that if anyone is interested and they want to, in this friendly environment, have some questions answered about their business or their sales or where they're at, I'd love to be able to help you with that. And for some of you saying, well, how is she, what's her credit for her to be able to do that? I'm glad you asked that question. Number one, I'm second generation entrepreneur, and I have been in sales and in my own business since I'm 17 and a half years old. I'm my children 17 and a half right now. I quit counting halves. And I've been the part of several organizations that if I said who some of the businesses that have come from them, you would say, oh my gosh. I'll just say, if any of you know Robert Kiyosaki or the movie The Secret or Chicken Soup for the Soul, I am a lifetime member of the organization that is responsible for that. I've been featured on Christian television, Christian magazines, business books, spoken, gobs of times. I've helped several companies, both in Canada and in North America, with their teams, with their sales, and that pretty much will give you a comfort level. So if you have anything, and that's one of the reasons that Bob really wanted me, because when Bob and I first met, he and Guy went to their office, and we sat down and chatted. I don't know if you guys have heard him share, but I do have the ability, that's one of my skills, as you have yours, I have mine, to really cut through and sit down and craft what, depending on how open the individual is, what their languaging should be so that they are drawing people to them as opposed to repelling them, what their marketing strategy should look like, what type of systems that they need to have into their business sequencing, and sometimes even just what's going on with them, or seeing something or feeling something that's going on with them. I have a strong sense of discernment, And that's it. So if anyone has any type of questions or interest to do that, I would be more than happy to do that in this forum. And we'll take about 10 minutes or so to do that. And then at the close, I'm going to share with you guys 2 questions that you can ask that will get you business in the next, I'd say within the next week after you get home, if that long. Okay? I said, well, that was really good. So my parting gift to you guys is 2 questions that seem super simple, that are super profound. And when you attend a networking group, instead of you thinking of what's your script, what are you going to say, that you're going to slobber all over somebody, okay, and they're going to, smell your commission breath a mile away, or your desperation for sales. And that is, what are you working on and how can I help you? How may I help you? And I'll share a quick story with you. I learned this when I was a club president for CEO Space, which is a lifetime membership, and that's where the Chicken Soup for the Soul and, the producers that produce Oprah Winfrey, that's where they all got their start. The guy, the back of the credit card strips, that black strip, the guy that invented that was from there. I mean, there's so many, I could go on and on. Anyway, actually, the gal from Team Referral is on staff there. The gal that founded Team Referral is on staff there. Last time I heard. Anyway, I was sharing this at a SCORE meeting. Oh, it's been a couple of years ago. And there was a gentleman there who was, Michael Fisher is his name, and he was brand new for SCORE Murrieta. And so I come there, and I'm, telling them about, what are you working on, how may I help you? And going across from the same way that we just finished doing. And his jaw just dropped, and this guy has like 50 years of business experience. And he walked up to me afterwards, and he said, I don't know where you got this from. I'm just floored, and I'm going to use this. So fast forward, I went to there was something at the incubator at Murrieta, what's it called? MIC, the Murrieta Innovation Center. And so I'm there, and I'm speaking with someone else I just met, and out of my ear, or my left ear, I heard, someone say, introduce themselves, talk to them, for a couple of seconds, and say, so what are you working on, and how can I help you? And I turned my head from who I was speaking with, and I saw him, and he winked over at me at the corner of the room. And then he came to me afterwards, and he said, Jackie, he goes, you don't know how many people where they would say, be completely guarded, now because I'm leading with a giving hand, they are actually engaged fully in a conversation with me. And I thought it was just absolutely brilliant. I was like, oh no, fabulous. I'm so glad to hear that. And so when you go into an environment, and you can say it different ways, you could say things like, so what's keeping you up at night, and what collaboration do you need? Who could I introduce you to that would help you get further down the track with that? Right? Or you could say, I heard about your company, and it looked as though you guys had a need for blank. I was meaning to call. I'm so glad that we bumped into each other, because I know someone that would fit the bill for that. So I just said the same thing. I just said it a different way, right? So that's where you're taking ownership for it. So those are the things. If you say that, I promise you that you will get enough business. If you say it enough, if you say it not by rote, but by really embracing that, you will turn your business around in 30 days or less. I promise you. And if your business is doing great, you will see at least a 20% increase in your business. I promise you. Okay? So lastly, I'm going to share with you what I'm working on and how you can help me. One of the things that I am committed to doing and to being and to having is a catalog of local business owners and salespeople that I can point to and send business and collaborations, create collaborations and point them their way. And one of the ways in which I'm doing that is by creating systems and strategies with them that are not cookie cutter. They are couture tailored just to them, no buying off the rack. And so a good introduction would be someone that is open and receptive and wants to really grow their business and is willing to invest in themselves. The second thing that I'm really super excited about is Kitchen Table Talk with Jackie Dobbins. I don't know if you guys happen to see or hear the interview that I conducted with Bob. Off the charts. I mean, off of the charts. And I don't say that because I'm the person that interviewed him. I say that because I can tell when I'm there in the moment as to the way in which it is transpiring. And it took a little bit, but then there was a part where Bob he didn't completely, but almost forgot the red light was on, the camera, the whole 9 yards. And he just knocked it out of the park. And so what's great is that you guys can have excerpts of that and put that out there. The other thing I have to share with you is I did a press release because we were at the chartering, and I said, hey, I had a couple of people back out, could you come in and fill in, for me? He's like, yeah, no problem. And I was like, oh, thank goodness. And so as a thank you, I created a press release for him, which is worth $147, and I did that for him for free. And I don't even know if he knows this, but he had over 500 impressions from the actual press release itself and over 100,000 impressions from the headline. That the headline was compelling enough, 100,000. Okay? So what that says is it's a great credibility builder. And it's pretty amazing. And what that also says is going back to the very beginning of the writing stories. All a press release or PR is, publicity for your business is being a good storyteller. How do you get 100,000 people to make an impression? It's by having a compelling headline, being a good storyteller. And I got to tell you, I didn't learn the technique of that it even was a technique on my own. I learned that from a gentleman, his name's Dean Jackson, who we have to thank for when you put your email address in somewhere and you get a free report or a white paper or an ebook. He's the one that created that strategy, that system of being able to do that, to get and build an email list. He's very, very well known, as you can imagine. The internet marketers love him, and they all know who he is. And he's enjoyed, up until recently, a considerable amount of anonymity. And now, because of the social climate being different, he's had to be more out there. So if you guys want to know of a resource, I would check out, it's called I Love Marketing. They have a podcast. It's amazing. And he and Joe Polish, that you guys would check out what he has to offer. He's just a brilliant, brilliant guy, huge heart. I did a lot of beta testing for him and with him, and he would tongue in cheek say, he'd go into his evil scheme hatchery and come up with ideas, and he'd say, hey, if Jackie Dobbins says that it's good and after she's tried it out, then we know we got a winner, and if not, then we know that we need to go back and redo some things. And so I would encourage you guys, back to the kitchen table talk, that if you know, or you yourself are a business owner or a salesperson, a good cause or a charity that has a marketing budget, that you would feel comfortable introducing them to me and me to them. I promise you I'll take really good care of them, and we have a good time. I'm only going to promote the highest version of themselves. And that's my goal. So with that, I'll give this back over to Joe. And if you guys have any questions, any comments or feedback, I ask that you would, put it out on Facebook, Twitter, and, text me, send some testimonials, whatever the case may be, that I can use in my own marketing to let people know, what you guys learned and received today. Alrighty? And thank you so much for your active listening. I appreciate it.